Okay, are we live? We may be. Are we live? I said, are we live? Looks like we are. Vigilante Williamson here on the 94th episode. No music today of my show, the Vigilante Williamson Show. It is for now Thursday. Well, how did I used to do? I had a whole way I did it. It's November 10th, Thursday, November 10th. That's how I used to do it. It's November 10th, at least for now, at least for the first half hour, or no, first 15 minutes of the show. Thursday, November 10th. Again, hopefully I'm live. Hopefully I'm audible. Hopefully I'm not having any more technical issues than I usually have. And I don't want to thank anyone who's watching me. Sorry for being late. I thought I was going to be on time, but it was because I set the time wrong. Or at least just forgot what I set the time as. Oh, well. I apologize. I really don't want to be super late every time. Wasn't researching this time. Just totally mistook which time. And I got nervous, man. I'm not going to lie, because I don't really have a whole bunch to talk about to be a thou wow. I just, I want to keep the habit. I got to do better with this channel. Even if I am going to switch channels. I don't think I'm doing a sports channel. I'll even talk a little bit about some of that stuff. But I am still going to do a music channel. Still going to do that. And I may even I have to experiment and just start making content on a different channel and seeing what happens. Hell, who is that? Sentinel. Appreciate you. I always see Sentinel around. You always see him on YouTube. I see you like wrestling stuff and other stuff. Frame rate. Oh, so I'm going to have frame rate issues? Shit, I meant to check my connection issues. I meant to do that. I apologize. Let me see something. Still having the same. For some reason, it wasn't reading my. It's talking about no internet access. It's not ringing. Oh man, I'm gonna have to fuck with it. I meant to do that. I don't know what's happening. So I apologize if I'm having frame rate issues, technical issues. Still trying to get back in the habit. Still recovering, not just from the break from a few months ago, but I mean, I kind of took an extra one after. Still trying to get back in the habit of doing the show. Still trying to do the show and figure out where I'm going as far as the subject matter point. So it's a lot of things going on. I did work out on Wednesday. If anyone was paying attention, I said I'm going to work out on Wednesdays. Start to establish a exercise schedule. I work out Wednesday, Friday, and then one day on the weekend, probably Sunday, and then that way, got 3 days a week, and then start from there and build. And then try to get a stream in Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Sunday. Maybe a gaming one on Sunday. Try to get my life some sort of schedule and some sort of regularity. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So and shout to Bartholomew, aka Matt from Fireball Productions. His name's not really Bartholomew, obviously. But no, he had texted me, hey, did you go to the gym? And it was actually before I did. And I was like, I'm going to go later, you know what I mean? And I was actually at the time hyped to go. And then later on, I was like, oh, man, I don't feel like going. Then I start watching these memes, a couple of which we'll actually watch. And they got me hyped up to fucking go to the gym. And I went. So that's cool. Papa is swatting commies on Snow's channel. All right, no worries, man. No worries. Hell, Mike DiCarlo. Hell, Sentinel again. And anyone watching this live or on the playback, we do know some people watch the playback. Papa Cotton, before he left to go defend Snow Dub from commies, the reaction before the stream started said, look, I'm the champion of voting, but obviously there was a red wave. If there wasn't, they wouldn't still be counting. They've got to come up with Arizona. They got to come up with so much magic. Arizona won't be done counting till Christmas, they said. That's not good. That's not good. Because, things can be messed with. But I still wanted to talk about the red wave or lack thereof or what it is. And I'm not going to act like I've done no research. Shock. I've done very little. I've been very apolitical recently, past really year plus. After the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, I really said, you know what? I'm going to take my ball and go home on this politics thing, on the hardcore politics thing. So I don't know. I don't even know a lot of races that were relevant and that made the red wave not be a red wave. I'm not really speaking to that. I wanted to speak to something that, and again, I'm not saying there wasn't a major push on some level for the voting. I'm not saying that everything that's going to be done is going to be proprietable with the voting. I don't know enough to know either way, right? And I think everything is in regards to election not above board all the time, in any case, in any year. But I do think I feel like, and I want to preface this. I'm saying this from a place of, I don't know if love's the right word. Maybe that's too strong. Don't want to be gay. But I'm saying this from the place of at least concern. I'm not saying this. I'm not being critical for the sake of being critical. I'm not being critical for the sake of, some leftist agenda that, you want to arbitrarily put. I still think, I still understand all the reasons everyone hates the left. Some of the stuff, a lot of stuff we're going to talk about has been, when we get into the issue with men, a lot that's been perpetrated by the left, and it's going to continue to be perpetrated by the left. But I don't think the right realizes the culture issue that it has, or at least it's not addressing it properly. And again, like I said yesterday, I think there's two sides. I don't know if I was Tuesday, which was election day. And I'm not sure if I used this exact phrase, but two sides of the same devil, two wings of the same devil, left wing, right wing. I believe there's a lot of choreography. That's what I'm trying to say. And a lot of controlled opposition from the right and the left. And I think, a lot of these guys dance together, guys and gals, and are themselves just worker bees for something a lot more sinister and a lot more dangerous. But even within the confines of this binary, you know what I thought of it as? It's two echo chambers and a larger gas chamber. That's what American politics are. You have the quote-unquote right echo chamber, the quote-unquote left echo chamber, and they are both within a gas chamber, a much larger gas chamber, and that's politics. And that's why I say you got to get out, get into the real world, get some fresh air, because I think the right wing has become so politically focused that they don't realize how much they alienate a lot of people who are normies. Neither side is really cultural. I think both sides are culturally inept. But the thing is, the left is the medium for which the powers that be use to do everything they want to do maliciously to the people. So they use the left as that medium, and thus the left is already installed in so many of these institutions. So they get a lot more impact just based off the strength of that's the mainstream media, that's the mainstream education. And really with just those two things, that's really where most of the impact comes. But it circles out and spins out into everything, right? But the right has made some very weird cultural decisions. And then I know some of y'all love the Orange Man, some of you hate him, whatever. I'm not too fond of him for different reasons. Like I said, I think he's just a puppet ploy. But I don't think you guys ever address how polarizing he is. And I know you might say, oh, look at the gas, but the mean tweets. Well, here's the thing. Most people don't vote. They still don't vote. Most people don't vote. Most people won't vote. And I think you don't appeal to the people who don't and won't vote at all. You only appeal to those politically inclined. And most people in this country, an overwhelming majority, don't vote. And that's not even something acknowledged. It's like hot girls and ugly men, which I guess we're going to kind of talk about a little later. But it's in that same vein where it's like they don't even know ugly men exist. They don't even count them amongst the living. And in that same way, you know, a lot of this has been we've used this criticism of the left, of their cultural ineptness. You know, they just make these assumptions about everybody and blast them out. That's what we criticize the cultural left for, and we should. But the right just still assumes everyone is in that binary space. They spend so much time trying to own the libs, and they have, because mainstream media is so evil and so manipulative, and the right has picked on that to some extent. Obviously, Fox News, even Newsmax, I think is kind of creeping up there. I don't know. I know it was at one point. Maybe it's fallen off. I have no idea. I don't keep up with this stuff as much as I used to. But, you know, because there's a mainstream narrative for everything, and that mainstream doesn't just go out to leftists. It goes out to that neutral. Again, you culturally, a lot of times, have blinders to. At least this is my criticism. Just one guy, one asshole in a mask. But because of those cultural blinders to the normies, you don't realize how you come off. There's a lot of normies who don't approve of, Sleepy Joe, don't approve of all this crazy stuff. But when they see what you present, they're like, you know what? They have what I say. Both sides kind of suck. I'm just going to sit at home. You know what I'm saying? And you can say, they're not going to care about it until, it's at their front door, which is true. But again, do the right actually offer up what they even say? Hell, we saw the right earlier in the year vote along with a lot of these crazy gun laws because of some of the different situations that happened across the country. They bent the knee just as quick and didn't really face any criticisms. Like, they just go to kind of culture you had to. And okay. Like, what are you voting for these people then if they're not going to even uphold the things that you want them to uphold? What purpose do they even serve? Let's see what you guys are saying. Just another proof the system is fucked. It's funny, the guy says weak men, and yeah, he doesn't think Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero. Kyle Rittenhouse, this time at least I mentioned him, Meat Man. Hey, Snorter Poopus. Hello, Snorter Poopus. It's a long time no see. At least I mentioned him. He unsub from this gay channel. Why are you here? I don't block people. So you're allowed to be here, man. God damn it, my frame rate is dropping. I just saw my frame rate dropping on OBS. You're allowed to be here, man. I'm not a human worshiper, man. I don't worship humans. I don't worship the flesh. I will say this. Here's where we're in agreement. My analysis of Kyle Rittenhouse was completely off. He's a puppet. He's a part of the system, and he's probably MK Ultra trained because I don't know how many people, let alone 17-year-olds, can hit some of the shots he hit. That's another can of worms for another day. I'm going to try to stay out of the conspiracy stuff. There's this little conspiracy stuff with society. So we're going to stay out of it a little bit. That kind of derailed me for a second. At least I mentioned him. I spoke this guy into existence. I did mention it because I said, this last time I really went into the politics thing. But yeah, the right has cultural ineptness. I don't think the right realizes how deep a lot of the stereotypes about the right are ingrained in a lot of people's mind, and I don't think they've been too interested in addressing them. And I kind of understand some of it. You don't want to be weak. You don't want to, so much of this leftist stuff needs to be pushed back against. But not everyone is accepting the binary logic, man. A lot of people just don't vote. And I don't think conservatives do a good job at aiming themselves towards the non-political. In fact, if you look at some of the conservative and non-leftist thinkers and talkers, most of them were just former liberals. You know what I'm saying? So these were still political people. These were still people who cared, who were still in that greater gas chamber that is politics, but they just switched sides. You know what I mean? The Tulsi Gabbard thing. They switched sides, but you're still in the political space, and you have no idea how to relate that space outside of politics. And so normies aren't coming out. Even no matter what happens with a lot of these different things, yes, there may be close stuff. Yes, there may be impropriety stuff, on the left side, or maybe on the right side. Who knows? But the fact that these are close elections, the fact that these things aren't like obviously everyone's voting for, the quote unquote conservative candidate because of how radical the left is, how some of the issues that the country is going to face. Obvious, but it's not obvious to a lot of people because they don't see, for whatever it's worth, they saw their president on January 6th. I know it's a bullshit thing, it's psyop, lots of impropriety stuff. They don't even talk about what was it? We told people to go home and all. I get it. Trust me, I've heard every fucking thing every excuse and every explanation and whatever. Cool. I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is most of the country still think that the biggest name in conservatism, biggest name in republicanism or whatever, Donald Trump tried to lead a white supremacy group for insurrection to take back the country because he was a sore loser. You can say, that's all this, but I'm telling you what most people believe. Don't shoot the messenger. I know messengers do get shot. But I'm telling you what most people believe. That's why, from the little research I did do, some of the Trump-supported candidates didn't do as well as you thought they would. That did rub people the wrong way. The right never even really addressed the media issue, man. The fact that we have this mainstream media that can do what it does unchecked is just so evil, man. They can guide hearts and minds to whatever way they want them to go. They can lie about stories. They can misreport things, and they face no consequence. And still, I don't care how many, CNN Live, and there's a lot of stuff you say, it's not doing well. You'll see these indicators of failure, indicators of less interest from a lot of the mainstream media stuff, which is definitely true and really true across television as a whole. But there's still the gatekeepers of the narrative. That's still what most people have a tendency to believe or at least consider with some weight. And that's, why the conservatism, why the red wave isn't quite happening. Listen, again, I know Wook was here. Is Wook still here? Wook's going back and forth. Spurg. What Snort said? Speaking of polarizing, here I am. Oh, that was cool. Polar bear. Haha. He stomped out. We haven't even warmed up. Dildo would have had him boiling. It's better he left when he did. Saying right-wingers told people not to go to the Capitol was an obvious trap. It was an obvious trap. And that was the origin of me saying, you know what? Trump is controlled ops. He's not in the fucking... That was when you can almost see, you probably couldn't see my face because the mask. But I remember doing the stream on Wes's old channel. It was me, him, and Lorena. And it was that day. And I'm starting to say, man, I think he's controlled ops. Because I'm like, man, why would he have encouraged? He should, like you said, sane right-wingers said, no, it's an obvious trap. It's an obvious culture trap. And they got so many people to fall right for it. Man, that's another thing. I've said this before. The right falls into a lot of the left's traps. A lot of them. And not to say that the right doesn't trap leftists, but they'll trap like these goofy leftists that nobody cares about, that don't have like real cultural weight. And, speaking of Trump, as I've said many a time, man, they gave the left Trump and they gave, the right wing the left as a thing to worship in the negative. And trust me, it is obeisance. If you spend all your day, and I'm saying it's so funny. I can't wait to show you the image I've been looking at while I'm doing this, of this goofy non-binary. No disrespect to them. They're not goofy because they're non-binary. They're goofy because they're stupid. But we'll get into why in a second, because when I show the little memes when we start talking about the men. But I almost derailed myself. I was talking about the trap and just the cultural traps that people fall for. And I was talking about how the left worships in reverse Trump. And the right worships in reverse the left. And listen, some of the stuff has to be addressed when you're talking about the left. You're talking about the stuff they're doing to kids, how they've already permeated all the education system, the K through 12 education system, which we haven't done a good enough job of actually trying to abolish. We really need to start moving. You want to talk about cultural thing that needs to happen. We need to start moving away from the public school system and start declaring that a failure in and of itself. The public school system is a failure, and we do not act like it is. We still act like, oh, well, everyone just goes to school. You have kids. You treat them like a babysitter. They don't learn anything except how to get STDs and harm each other at best. And, have Rainbow Dildo Monkey reading to them while they're in first grade and shit. The schools are a nightmare, man. They were a nightmare when we were younger. And so we can haze the future generations. We keep not doing anything about this system. It's only set up to create workers. Shit, now I'm permeating into the other thing about these men. I guess it's all connected, man. The powers that be are not stupid. They're assholes. They may have, useful idiots who work for them, but they're not stupid themselves. And they got this system set up. They got a different reason for everybody to hate somebody. We talk racially, politically, obviously. They have cast the people in some of these dramas well, as far as the political drama. Shit, if you pay attention to Bread and Circus in the sports world, that's his own thing. That's why I'm not doing the channel. I'm like, it's the same thing. Got the Jeff Saturday thing I've had to talk about. I talked a little bit about the Kyrie stuff. It's just the same. It's the same. And then, you consider sports as fake or rigged, allegedly. But it's the same thing of me just like dealing with these contrived and created narratives. And these narratives created by Walt Disney, basically. Because sports is owned by ESPN and Fox News. That's Disney. Or Fox Sports. And that's Disney. So that's why it's his own cultural zeitgeist. But they're going to create this damn culture. Everybody has somebody to hate, somebody to love. And they make everything a little poison pilled, especially when we talk about the politics stuff. And they've created a cultural, not only a cultural divide politically, but regionally, from different states to state, from the cities to the suburbs and exurbs. And they've created all these different mini divides that allow them to basically do whatever they fucking want, to act with impunity and install in this crazy world. And people think that we can even vote our way out of it. Even if the red wave came, what happens, man? Let's say you got what you thought you would get. Let's say you get what you think you're going to get with all these fucking recounts. Let's say somehow, some way, red wave did happen. Hooray. So now what? Are you going to undo the shit? Are they trying to make a cashless society? Aren't places going without? Heard some banks, and I want to say in Germany, are supposedly trying to move towards cashlessness and close down banks and get rid of cash. Are you going to push back against this shit? If you got, and you know what, I shouldn't say this because I see in Florida they're starting to push back against some of the craziness of the schools. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you vote red, you will get some of these culturally things pushed back on. Because I know in Florida they voted to, what was it about the schools? It was some crazy. It was something that they should. Oh, no, it wasn't the schools. It was the hormone blockers. That's what I'm thinking of. No hormone blockers for people under 18. So it's like, okay, they done something. And I mean, so maybe, maybe those little victories are what voting is worth it. I'm not going to say that they're not because there's value in slowing some of this shit down. But do you think that's going to stop them? You know what I'm saying? Do you think voting is all, we just vote and then everything's going to be better? And do you, again, to go back to kind of my point about the whole red wave situation, do you realize that there is a cultural issue with the right? I talked about why, when we talked a little bit, this is before the Kanye thing went really crazy, But when that first started up, and Candace Owens was doing stuff with him, I talked about why black conservatives don't really appeal to black people. Even though there's a huge black non-leftist contingent that exists and is growing, conservatism and the conservatives that represent it for the most part don't appeal to black people, and they really don't try. And I think there's something else. I don't think conservatives really try to appeal to the common man as much as they think they do. Even if a lot of tradesmen and a lot of kind of blue collar workers have a leaning towards conservatism, I still don't. Again, who's voting? Everyone doesn't vote. Once you operate, that's the thing. Once you operate from the most people don't vote standpoint, you realize that whoever you see is only an indicator of those who voted. And so you're not getting the turnout from the people who don't vote because you're not appealing to their heart and mind. Or you haven't made yourself as a whole, and I've criticized the conservative and Republican politicians, you aren't really doing everything you need to be doing. You aren't really, in a lot of cases, stopping. Again, Florida would be the exception. That's why a lot of people are happy about DeSantis and just some of the things that are going on, because they really have stopped and really pushed back at a lot of the craziness, and they should be commended for it. So if you think your voting does that, but I almost think it's not the voting, it's the culture, man. I think the culture of Florida is doing that, man. I don't think yes, voting has an impact, voting as an indicator of said culture. But I think that culture is what makes it. You have enough people who are genuinely concerned in that space that is Florida. They're going to push back, and therefore the political powers that be in that state have to lean towards a certain direction because the people and the culture demand it. That's why I think what Ripper has said about culture is so important. And I don't think that you guys have really picked up what he's putting down, man. Some people have, you know what I mean, but it's not enough, and it's still this, well, we have the right ideas, therefore we'll win. And it's like, no, most people don't vote. You guys still think most black people vote Democrats? No, most black people don't vote. Most people of all nations don't vote. So again, if you keep with this binary and these crazy political only thought processes, you're not going to get everyone who's not in that gas chamber who contains these two echo chambers that we call the right and the left wing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Is it the Netherlands? It's not Germany. I said Germany was the Netherlands as far as the cashless banking. Lefties are beginning to be predictable. I'm sure. That's his point, I believe. Nobody attracts their vote, so they don't vote. Does all this gay woke shit go over in the black community? As far as I can tell, it's a fat hell no. Again, no. Yeah, that's my point. You guys have to realize everyone is not in this conversation. I've been saying it the whole time. Most people are in the middle or non-applicable. What it is this shit goes well with the people of those demographics that vote, and it's in that vote liberally, vote for Democrats and the liberals. So amongst that demographic, they love all the LGBTQ plus and BIPOC and different squares and they love all that shit, right? They love that shit, and it works for them of those voters. But everyone isn't a voter. And unless you can get to voters, you're not going to do something. Here's another thing. The left being bad does not get you a vote. Don't you know how many... I wish you knew how many black people didn't love Black Lives Matter and didn't agree with them. Don't you know they all didn't vote for you as far as conservatives? Most of them just didn't vote at all. And still, even if they did, you talk about last election especially, the cultural placement of Trump made it impossible to vote for him for a lot of people. And you say, oh, it's just mean tweets. It's like, okay, whatever, bro. There's a cultural problem that you're missing out on. You're not appealing to a lot of people. And you just want to, you want to just blame the left. You want to just blame, there's different improprieties. Okay, it may be. But there's also, you're not getting a lot of people. You're not getting the neutrals, the neutrons. Shout out to Chi-Town, the Chi. You're not getting the neutrons. The neutrons don't want to be involved with you. And no amount of, the leftists is crazy. They just, Rainbow Dildo Monkey. I always bring him up. Rainbow Dildo Monkey's reading the kids. People are going to see that and say, damn, that's fucked up. This is crazy. This is a crazy world. They're not going to just vote for some conservative just because the left put that out. And at some point, you got to understand that. But a lot of people, I don't understand. Why do black people vote for Democrats and they destroy their community? Because they don't vote. That's why. Why have you not been able to do a better job appealing to the people who aren't voting? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Once you can actually, and then, do you deliver on what you purport to do? Or if the culture if the media pressure is right, will you capitulate? Again, I talked about a lot of these gun laws and a lot of these bills that got passed based upon the tragic situations and the powers that be pushing it through the media narrative and the conservatives living up to the nickname that I and many others have now given them, bent the knee. So what are you voting for? You're voting for a leftist to move at the speed limit. And if that's what you want to vote for, that's fine. But you're losing the culture war. You're both losing the culture war. You're both. It's a double L, double KO. Let me see. I know people who've never heard the term woke. That's exactly it. There's a lot of people who don't know what woke is. There may be 100 million people who don't even know what it means. To be fair, we don't really do that shit here. We don't, not here. I feel like I've gotten the runners from the conservative who just who just realize both systems, just this whole thing's fucked. The government's fucked. The world's fucked. And I've gotten some of the black-pilled runners. That's what you and Cinch Dildo are. That's why they're scared of the DeSantis. He's normal enough to attract the middle. DeSantis seems like he can. I like the term Republicans, personally. Republican. I like that. That's cool. That's cool. Still having bandwidth issues. I really got to check it out. Royce Lopez tweeted out a great question. Instead of asking why libertarians didn't vote for Oz, as why independents voted for a stroke victim. Wow. People got to understand that the independents, there's more independents than probably ever. Sorry, I got to adjust this camera. This is bothering me. Okay. But yeah, man. Is what it is. Is what it is. I'm not trying to black pill anyone who's in the political space, who still believes in the two wings of the same devil, the two echo chambers inside the gas chamber that is politics. I'm not trying to say there's no merit to your beliefs. That's not what I'm trying to say. Just wish you well. Don't worship man. Get out, get some fresh air. There's more to life than this politics shit. There's more to life than this politics shit, like fat phobia. No. Yes, no. I'm about to make a hard transition into kind of the main event subject. I went a half hour with that. That's pretty good. I was really worried. I'm like, this episode, I'm like, I don't know if I have enough to even go an hour, but looks like I shall. So I've been watching these memes. And we're about to watch a couple memes. I'm not going to watch all of them. There's some really good ones. Shout out to Balkan Gains and other very similar channels who have all this content. This is the same meme over and over again, but it actually does help. So here we go.
Doctors are fatphobic, like the rest of society. But if they say they want you to lose weight, it's just not possible, right? It's just not possible.
Losing weight's not possible,
and it's damaging to you. Doctors are seen as the authority, but if you don't advocate for yourself, it could cause terrible consequences.
Sure it could.
Including death, which sucks. Stand up when you're being told to lose weight, when that is not.
In the name of CIS, and chest bra.
It's the same meme where they show some crazy bullshit and then show a bunch of guys lifting weights. Or sometimes they'll show clips of motherfuckers doing cool shit. It's like some, grind harder. Don't become average. See challenges that make you great. I'm sorry, I'm in the way. Oh shit, not the other masters in the way.
Chest bra.
And then you can see all the other stuff I watch. One more. We'll do one more, and then I'll get into my actual spiel. Now, this is the wacky one. I'm like, you guys got to see this shit. You got to see this shit.
Some people will ask, do I actually use
Whoa!
the diapers? And yes, I use the diapers.
Whoa! I'm sure you guys wanted that mental image.
These are my usual ones.
Look at this shit.
My name is Phil, and I like to dress as a baby.
Look at this shit. My man Ziz, R.I.P. You start seeing all this crazy shit. What are you doing? There you go. That's me. Chopping wood and shit. What's wrong? Okay, what the fuck, Vig? I mean, that's cool and funny and whatever. What the fuck are you showing? What am I showing? Shout out to Balkan Games. I think both of those were his memes. There's a bunch of them. He may have reposted them from someone else. I apologize. But these things help me get out and actually work out. Which actually, man, I've talked about this one time when I was at my skinniest. And I've actually found an old picture from me from 6 years ago. I was like so much thinner. But I was living healthy. I was gone a few years living healthy, and I ate one Twix, and that one Twix helped me fall off the wagon. I almost had the opposite from going to the gym yesterday, where I went to the gym one time, felt so good. Still right now, I feel so good from it. It's like, okay, I got to get back into this shit. Hardcore in a hurry. But why did I show those memes? Because men are in trouble. The whole point, these memes, they start off with some culturally, either some fat shit or some very feminized men pushing shit like that. But like, I've talked about it in different podcasts on different spaces about how much trouble men are in and how much is being done towards men. When we talk about some of this woke agenda, a lot of it has been to emasculate, I would say emasculate the black male, but emasculate the male as a whole, regardless of race. Maybe a special emphasis on the black male, but that's neither here nor there. Don't want to add any more division. Because anytime you talk about your race, it means it's division. That's another can of worms. But seriously, it's been this attack on men, this multi-generational attack on men. And they're doing it because they can create the society that they have. We're going to be social credit scored up in a minute. Ooh, shit. Sorry. I have no space for my damn mouse now, and I have to figure something out. I got a lot of stuff to figure out with this studio. I thought I had it right just when to have the answers. They changed the questions. But we have this society that's trying to push at your kids, that's trying, California's lowered or done little funky shit with the age of consent. We know other areas of the country, Illinois is trying to allow crime basically to be legal, where there's not essentially, but no more bail. And we have a society that's actively trying to eat itself because we have a generation of men who were raised without fathers. Statistically speaking now, you're more likely to not have a father than have one. And then we have that same generation of men went through this liberal school system, facing almost no men for most of their formative schooling. I think they said between kindergarten and 8th grade, something like 95 or something % of the teachers are female. And it's not until high school that you're even going to start having more male authority figures as far as kids. And then you have social media, which is something I didn't really deal with as a kid. MySpace was coming out right as I was graduating high school, and Friendster and all that shit that still would not have had the impact that social media has with these dumb phones that we have. You have the testosterone issue. I meant to pull up the Try Guys testosterone thing, but ironically enough, one of them has gotten some pussy and then they got fired. He cheated on his wife, but it's funny to me. But we have lower testosterone than the generations before us. There's a lot of stuff, and it's to create a society that can be taken over by the World Economic Forum, that can be cashless by 2025. Social credit scores will determine whether or not you get to eat. We also, there's still a lot of places that have some COOF restrictions. In the World Economic Forum, apparently they'll put their name on stuff. I was watching some. Shout out to Jay Marvelous. I'm not going to use his content this time, but I will talk about it. Where they had this Canadian chick, and she was talking about how the World Economic Forum, that they got their shit plastered on all this Ontario and different Canadian provinces, different government plans and shit. They're out there. There's probably some shit in America, probably shit all over the country. I know New Zealand was doing this thing where it's actually from the same video to Jay Marvel, shout out to him. But they're trying to encourage people to snitch on wrong thinkers. If somebody has anything that's questioning the government, they can be labeled a terrorist, and you got to make sure you report them. Does this sound familiar to anyone? So we have a Marxist dystopian nightmare on our hands. It's because we allow a societal marginalization of men in every conceivable way. And I'm not trying to retort with bash all women as the answers. There are some creators who go into that space, whether they mean to or not, doesn't mean worship all women is the answer. If you learn nothing from this channel, don't worship the flesh. Don't worship anything in the flesh. For real. Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to grab my mouse. I want to see what you guys are saying, and my damn OBS is in the way. Let's see. I'm waiting for the first press conference with Biden and Fetterman. I don't even know who Fetterman is. Nice snort. It'll be an experience. I can't stand these uppity fatties. I love uppity fatties. Dig those glasses. This is what toxic femininity looks like, talking about the video I showed. Watching is being generous since that frame rate is 1 per second. Golly. Gotta say, hi to West. I'm sorry about the connection, man. I'm sorry about that. And I'm looking at how bad the connection is. And I must have unhooked something. Matter of fact, you know what? Hold on. I'm still here. This stream may go off air because I'm about to mess and make sure my internet's hooked all the way up. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm not turning off the mic either. Fuck it. This is bothering me. I'm looking at this damn cable. Okay. Hold on. Some bullshit right here. Move, Juice. This is bullshit. That shit's hooked up. Fuck is going on? Oh shit. Hold on. I'm back at my chair, but I'm not quite back on air. I mean, I am, but you know what I mean. Try one more thing. God bless. Shout out to the best adult dating site. He said, I'm going to break the ice with some prawn. Shout out to Cinch Dildo sniping him. Sniping his fellow bot. Sniping his fellow bot. No. Oh, man. Try one more thing. Why does it say unidentified network? I don't know. My Ether connection just doesn't work. Okay. Okay, fuck it. Fuck it. Oh shit, the lights are all on. Hold on. There we go. There we go. See, I don't know what's with the data. I'm sorry about the transmission. I'm sorry about the frame rate. Maybe my OBS settings. Maybe, but again, it's not reading that I have a wired connection at all. So I think it's a Windows thing, and I don't know why. I'm going to have to troubleshoot it. Because it's annoying seeing this red, yellow. And it's like it's not reading the Wi-Fi. That may be because I changed the fucking port because I've been moving the little Wi-Fi thing around. Hey, bot work is real work, just not here. There you go. Supporting your fellow man. So I don't know what's going on. And it happened on StreamYard too. I don't think it's an OBS thing. A lot of stuff is OBS. But when I did the show on StreamYard Tuesday, we were still having these issues. It sucks. This sucks. So I guess sorry for those memes being terrible to watch because of the frame rate. And sorry if this show itself is terrible to watch, if it's choppy. Is this choppy? If this is choppy, I'm about to come off camera because ain't no sense of being on camera just for everything to be all jacked up. But back to the men, back to the society that wants these weak men, that wants these individuals to be pushed over. That's what they want. Camera settings. Blame the patriarchy. There we go. It's the patriarchy's fault. Again, I think it's something with my internet. I don't know why it doesn't read the wired connection, but it's only going off the Wi-Fi. And that's where my issue is. That's not reading the wired connection. It is what it is. How visually, like, am I 1 frame per second? How am I coming across visually and audio? Can you hear me? Do I look okay? Well, I know I don't look okay, but does this look, like a human moving, or does it like, and then I'm just here and I'm just like, how does this look? Peg the patriarchy. I would have showed a lot more memes if this shit was not working. So yeah, let me know how I sound and look, and then I'll continue on. If I look crazy, I'm gonna just go off camera, because there's no point. While you guys doing that, I'll continue to rant. As far as men, what can we do? What do you do in a society that is tailor-made? And I'm looking at this. Oh my God. I'm looking at the preview. I'm going off camera. I'm making an executive decision. I was looking at the damn preview that I'm getting from YouTube, and it just looks horrible. Horrible. Jesus. Yeah, this is almost like stop the whole fucking stream and figure it out. Sort of bad. I didn't realize how bad this was. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Audio is fine. Then we're just not even going to do it. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn off the spectralizer. There's no point. There's no point of having a spectralizer because that's going to be jumpy. You're just going to see an image and hear me talk. Because there's nothing I could do. Nothing I could do. I'm going to finish up my spiel. I'm not even going to do a positive story. Just finish up the spiel. Get out of here. Try to figure out these settings. Because it's weird because I'm not having any internet issues when I watch the internet. But it's something about me. I don't know. Like I said, I use the stream over a wired connection. And it is still plugged up. But it's not reading the wired connection. It's just saying that unknown network. And I don't know why. Don't know why. So I got to figure that out. It's not unidentified network, no internet. That's what it says for my wire connection. So I don't know why. So I apologize for the issues, the visual issues, the audio issues, everything. But back to going live is sketchy for you too. Sorry to hear that, Papa Cotton. But back to what I was saying. Men are under attack. Men have been under attack for generations. We're generations into this, and what they've created is a system where there's no men to push back against the system. There's no men with men. That stuff I wanted to bring up was the statistics of how many men aren't having sex, how many men are not starting families, how many men are not really participating in society in the way that we would want them to, how many men are not in the trades, or how many men do we need in the trades that aren't there. Men have been told you're not supposed to be a man, and if you are a man, you're something wrong with you, and have had little to no male guidance for a long time. That's why Andrew Tate exists, and he got so popular. I like Andrew Tate. In the world of controlled ops, he's one of the good ones. But man, you have men who don't have any means to male, don't have any means to be men, or have had so little means to be men. And you have millions and millions of them where they otherwise would be fathers and would be the defenders of the society that the world is still built by men in a lot of ways. We talk about infrastructure and all the necessary jobs, trucking, the blue collar jobs, the trades, sanitation, all that stuff is still necessary and it's still being done by men. But less and less men go into it because cultural reasons. We were told you don't want to be a blue collar worker, you want to be white collar. You know what I mean? And so we all have these crazy desk jobs. The white collar world, man, is a world that's trying to feminize you just the same. And it's a world that has its own wokeness. I just talked about today or this week, me having to deal with the black at insert corporation. I'm laughing at Snorter Poop. It's trying to reversing the polarity on a technobabble thingamabob. Try to reverse the flux capacitor. Yeah. Get a pit bull, ain't nobody gonna tell you shit. Yeah, I have a Q Samoyed, so he's probably the opposite. The aluminum dampeners pass me the hydro spanner. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what. I got this flux capacitor in upside down more than likely. But yeah, I'm gonna figure something out afterwards. But with all that, with the society that they've built, with all the ways they have to push back, man, I didn't really get into a lot of cultural stuff, a lot of toxic masculinity. If I could play more of these memes and they could work, we would see, there's some funny stuff, some good stuff in there. They talk about, if you're trying to improve yourself in any way, it's toxic. You know what I mean? If you're working out, it's toxic, or it's fat phobic, or it's all this other bullshit. All this bullshit. And now we have a society in which we're a few years away from being completely in the Marxist hellhole. You know what I'm saying? Where your money can be just erased like that because it's not only digital currency and your social credit score got too low so your money doesn't exist. We're only a few years away from that. We're only a few years away from you question something that the government did, so that means you're a domestic terrorist. You're going to jail based upon domestic terrorism because you question the government. And only a domestic terrorist will question the government. How dare you? I mean, think about that. Think about questioning the government, the most fundamental thing to the quote-unquote American mythos. It's the mythos tells you this is a bunch of colonies that oppose the queen. And this is going to be the country that tells you can't question the government lest you be put on a list of domestic terrorists. Shit, our sister cousin to the north has already said if you oppose the government, we'll fuck up your bank. That's what happened to those truckers. Again, blue collar workers. You guys still trying to use Hollywood science to figure out my internet issues? Rerouting the power to the deflector shield. What's that from? Is that Star Trek? Rerouting the power. That was an actual thing. I'm trying to think, what is that from? Rewriting the power to the deflector shield. I think that's Star Trek. I want to say Star Trek 2, but I may be making it up. Or 3. I may be making it up though. You let me know what rewriting the power to the deflector shield is. Only has 72 snort. They're too precious to sacrifice. Sacrifice to Baal. But with all this doom and gloom, what do we do? What do we do for our next generation of men, the current generation of men? as a whole, as a society, there's nothing as a society like we can all do. But what we do is we take self accountability as men, the ones that do know what's going on, which a lot of men do. A lot of men do. A lot of men realize society has it in for them. Hell, a lot of people are lying flat. You don't know what that means. That means people who are just basically not participating in society to the greatest extent that they can. Some people are doing this thing called quiet quitting, where basically you just check out of your job. You do just enough to not get fired, and that's it. But if we're talking about being strong enough to withstand and push back at, this evil World Economic Forum and all that, I'm just going to use the term World Economic Forum when I talk about the elites, because at least that's something that's provable, right? If we're going to push back at the World Economic Forum, we're going to have to individually better ourselves. That's the only things that are within our power. I don't know if you can have a cultural push with all these cultural relevant things that are owned by the quote unquote establishment or the left or the whatever you want to call them, the World Economic Forum again. And we saw, I may think everyone's controlled ops, so I could be wrong or right about Andrew Tate, but we saw somebody like that who did have a lot of verbal pushback. He got removed from these platforms. Now it looks like he still has a huge presence because of his fan base. And I keep trying to find him on Rumble. I found his Rumble, but I can never find new content or his live stream content. But that notwithstanding, it showed you, regardless of what that situation might be, that hey, if you are someone who talks down to our societal dictates and mandates, then we're going to just remove you from these platforms. And we're going to just discredit you to all we can. I mean, there's a lot of people who thinks he's a crazy misogynist and all this other shit. I kind of was wondering, when I first saw the guy's content, just the negative clips. And then you watch enough, and then he, with all his fucking followers, man, they were able to take over a lot of these platforms by reposting stuff. He's able in one way to grow outside of that. But that notwithstanding, there's still the issue of somebody says something against the narrative, somebody's removed from the mainstream platforms. I talked about the whole Kanye and Kyrie stuff, which again, I think they're probably controlled out. Apparently the Kyrie stuff is going the other way. He went from suspended and maybe out the league forever to being such a wide pushback because it was so ridiculous the shit they were doing to him. Now they're just trying to welcome him back. He probably threatened to sue him. I don't know. Or that's just the narrative. Who knows? But again, it was like, oh, yeah, you say something we don't like, and you may not agree with. There's stuff that they both said that I didn't agree with. Stuff even Andrew Tate says I don't agree with. But it's like, hey, your whole life needs to be destroyed now. You're not allowed to make money. You're not. That's an example for what's coming for you. And that's an example for what's coming for you. That's an example of what they'll do to people outside the narrative. That's why that stuff to me is relevant. So when you're talking about pushback, you're talking about a weakened base of men who may have some knowledge of what's going on, but not have the full picture. There's nothing you can do from an organizational standpoint to be in a large way. All you can do is small grassroots sort of things and mainly focus on improving yourself and being the best person you can. And if you have kids, making sure they're the best people that they can. And that's all you can do culturally. That's all you can do is be the best individual you can, because try to withstand a lot of this shit, man. They're coming for everybody. They're coming for everybody. It was Star Trek. Central Dildo said, should be done with my fleshy sacrifice video for Snow pretty soon. Mine was Star Wars Just Saying. What'd you say? Oh, the alluvial little dampers passed me the hydro spanner. I think that was from the second one too, right? Or episode 5, whatever. He said, yeah, you don't quote Trek. And then you guys talking about the dampened alluvium. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with this internet stuff. I don't know what's going on with this episode, man. This has been a kind of, started later because I had the time right. Lots of technical issues. But hey, we made it through. I think we just hit the hour, just around now, about to hit the hour mark. So I feel happy about that. Sorry if this wasn't the best episode that I've done. We're moving towards 100. But yeah, man, long and short, I feel something about being too black pilled on this channel. I bet since you didn't know all about dealing with dry alluvia, oy vey. I feel sometimes too black pilled on this channel. Everything, go get some fresh air. Don't be too politicized. Don't be too, don't over-inform yourself. Inform yourself to the point where you have an aneurysm about this crazy stuff. Have crack jokes. Live life. Be merry. Do the best you can. Appreciate what you have while you have it, because you may not always have it, and his powers just be trying to take it from you. And that's all you can do, man. As black pilled as a lot of this show can become, as far as this channel, a lot of good stuff in this world, a lot of cool stuff in this world, and that's all you can really do as far as focus on it. But you got to be aware, man. They've done a number on people, not just men. That was kind of the focus on today's show, but they've got tons of stuff. They've helped destroy women too, and you can't even define what a woman is. So they're birthing people now. They're birthing people. So I mean, this is a sick world, man. Very sick world, but there's still beauty in the world, man. Cough more, care less. Talk about smoke, man. I can't wait. I got a joint. I'm about to smoke right now. So yeah, smoke more, worry less, live the life, be strong. Make sure you strengthen yourself. Try to improve your physical fitness to the best of your ability, or at least maintain it to the best of your ability. And be aware, and tell people that as far as the stuff that's going on, if you got a friend that's open-minded, let them know some of the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. I'm sure a lot of you have. Don't go so hard that you're the crazy conspiracy theorist cousin, but let people know what's going on in this world, man. Fart loud and proud. Oh, boy. I think that works for bears because no one's going to fuck with you. But for the rest of us, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm doing the best I can. All right. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. Appreciate you watching this very technical issue regular episode of the Vigilante Williamson Show. We'll be at 100 before the end of the year. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. And oh yeah, real quick, since you did, good point. Don't just go to the gym, go to the library too. Working on only your body will make you a strong tar, and we have enough of those. So yes, expand your mind, read. I actually bought, some books recently, and I'm working on trying to get a bookshelf and a book collection. So yeah, read more. Try to educate yourself about subjects, even stuff that you may not have an interest in. It's better for your brain. You know what I mean? Every time you learn, you grow different brain cells, and it's better for your brain health to learn. So yeah, make sure you're focused. That's a good point. Make sure you're focused on your mental health. Make sure you're focused on your physical health, and make sure you're focused on your spiritual health, man. If you believe, pray. Make sure you pray daily. Make sure you have gratitude. Whether you believe in Jesus, or if you are a Muslim, you believe in Allah, whatever you believe in, keep your spiritual adherences. You know what I'm saying? A belief in a higher power will keep the government at bay. You know what I'm saying? Because they want a people that don't believe in a higher power, so you can worship them. So yeah, better yourself in everything you can. Peace out, all you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.